All right, so we might get started. Good evening, everybody. I'm Deputy Chair, Councillor Nathan Shanks. I'll be stepping in for Councillor Little. So bear with me, I might not be as efficient as previous chairs, but I'd just like to run through our minutes. Firstly, I'd like to go through the statement of acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge this land that we meet on today is the traditional lands for the Kaurna people, and that we respect their spiritual relationship and their country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region, and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna people today. We'll just go through the attendance record. We have Councillor Goldstone in remotely, and I believe Councillor Fraser and Councillor Little are not in attendance tonight. Is there any motions to grant leave of absence, elected members? There be none. There's no leave of absence recorded to go through, and the non-attendance will be noted. Is there any public open forum, anyone in the gallery that would like to address the council from the public? There be none. Any declarations of interest, elected members? None to put forward. Oh, that's an easy one. We have some guests in the gallery tonight that are actually here around the item in conference around the Gawler rail. Are we happy if we move that forward up in the agenda, or I give the option to elected members? Councillor Samble, you'd like to move that way?
Yeah, I'll move that way.
Do I have a second, Councillor Davies? And is there any further discussion on that? I'd like to put that motion. All those in favour? And that's for and against, and that's carried. So I think we're going to hear the presentation now. Now we have to deal with the item whether or not to go in confidence. So we have the officer's recommendation. Yeah, any discussion? Councillor Tooley.
Yeah, basically my question is that on the 11th of August, this very same item that was deferred until tonight was not in confidence, and everybody out there that loves to get on the web and have a look has read it. And the same, we come along tonight and the very same motion is now wrapped under, we're asking to go to confidence. So can someone explain why, please?
I might put that to Sam Delaney.
Yeah, through you, Chair. Well, the simple answer is that there's been a request from the state or through Deputy to keep their matter in confidence per se. So that's the mechanism of which this agenda's been put in confidence, because the state's requested that their presentation be provided in confidence at this stage.
Okay, I'm still, yeah, I hear that, but given that our community is really interested in this, and the motion actually says it's going to capture from us tonight our views, and we are representatives of our community, what can be so secretive? The 2 points there, I mean, again, they're a broad brush. I don't, why? Can we get something, I know they've asked, but can we get something more specific as to why?
Well, I'm more than happy to ask Deputy to respond, or correct me if I'm wrong in the respect to my commentary, but it's in terms of the design development that's occurred today, in terms of getting the council's feedback to inform the design that will go out to community consultation. So not effectively preempting what Deputy would do with the design following the council's review tonight with respect to prior to that concept being put out to community consultation and further engagement.
I'll go to Mayor Redmond.
Thank you. I agree with Councillor Tooley. I'm a bit puzzled as to why the other concept is out in the public domain. So I'm a bit puzzled, and I'd like to understand why as well. So if there is a motion moved, I won't be voting for it.
I wouldn't mind just taking this opportunity just to extend the opportunity to, your representative, just to be able to clarify for us further, if that's okay.
The microphone on? Or? Yeah, good. Yeah, I think if you can hear me okay, Sam captured it quite well there. So we've been keen to take you through the design development phase that we've been on and taking on board the feedback from council when we last met, and also the community consultation from December. And the request has been to, show through to council before we go publicly, with the next phase of our consultation. So rather than, start our consultation, then get your feedback, we're getting your feedback, and then we're going to take that on board and, proceed with the consultation. So we're looking to do that in that order rather than this be the start of the consultation. So in terms of like the public consultation is. Yep.
So just on that, if we're here to make decisions on behalf of our community, do we not offer the opportunity for our community to provide us feedback if we don't discuss this in confidence?
Not quite sure I followed that. So effectively we're going to go out to public and consult on this same material. You've been asked to come here before we go to consultation publicly to get, bring council up to speed with where we've been and give you an opportunity to take on some of your feedback, get your views.
Thank you. Councillor Davies.
Yeah, look, I guess just the reason people are so puzzled is this is not a new motion, this is a deferred motion. This came to a council meeting before with minutes and attachments and all of that attached to it. And at that time you were scheduled to present and there was no confidentiality. So it's just, has anything changed in the meantime, or did you just forget to do it the first time, or what's happened there, I guess?
We've been asked, like I said, I keep repeating the same answer. We've been asked to come and present to elected members here before going and continuing the consultation. That's what we're doing.
I might just go to Sam.
So just to provide some clarity, the council officer report is not for the purpose of the agenda confidential, but the presentation of DIPTI is confidential. That's the only point of difference, and that's the point of difference between the last meeting and this meeting. DIPTI would like to keep that in confidence so that they can refine the design based on the feedback from tonight and then use that as the basis to go out to community consultation, which everyone can provide their feedback. Then we'll collate that feedback, will be collated, and it'll come back to council as part of it, the journey.
Councillor Kosh.
I'm not happy with that process. It sounds like that we're going to give tacit support to their design, which I don't want to do tonight. I think the community needs to look at that design before we comment. So I'm quite happy for the presentation to be in public.
Is there any other discussion before I put this motion to be? Oh, sorry. Yeah, so sorry. We need a mover and a seconder for the officer's recommendation. So you're moving to allow the confidence to go into confidence for the presentation? So you're not moving that way, Councillor Sam?
Well, I said you might be voting for to go into confidence. Yeah. If you want somebody to do it, don't move it right. Don't move it.
So,
Okay,
So-
so Sam, would you like to offer some additional
Well,
comments?
it's very unusual that I would interject at this point, but it would likely be, Dave, can you correct me if I'm wrong, that you would not make the presentation if it was to be public.
Right.
And so effectively we would then need to understand how we might move this project forward if that was to be the case.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy to keep this conversation rolling. Councillor Tooley.
Thank you, Chair. If I could make a comment. Essentially, we're being held to ransom by Dipto. We are the one that have spent ratepayers' money. We commissioned Dipto to get involved in this, and they haven't even had the decency to give us a document to look at. When this first came before us and we had a big attachment, I went to the attachments. Guess what? No attachments, no drawings of bridge design. I'm meant to come into that meeting to give feedback, and I'm coming in cold. Again tonight, I thought when this came in the post, there'll be some attachments, those big A. No designs, nothing. And so what Dipto is saying to us now is we're going to give you a presentation in confidence, and we want you to give us feedback, and then we'll go to consultation. Well, I'm an elected member that represents the views of my community. And some members of the community have expressed views on this matter. And I have no information. No information at all. I think it's extremely tardy that Dipto are coming here tonight, holding us to ransom and saying, if you don't do it in confidence, we won't give it to you. When we're part of commissioning this work, I think that's just outrageous. And we're meant to be representing our community, and we're meant to be making informed decisions. Clause 18 of the Act, and Councillor Koch has invoked this once in my memory, and he was justified to do so, says that you put a complete halt if you don't get the document, and the CEO has to provide the document, and if the person that says, I don't want to vote because I haven't got the document, they have the right to do that. That's what Clause 18 says. I've never seen it used before, but I thank Councillor Koch for that, because I went back to it and I got a better understanding of it. And we need, as elected members, to remember that clause, because often we're asked to make decisions when we don't have the full information. And we can use that clause to put a complete halt until our rights are protected, that we are meant to make informed decisions based on full information. And I've come in cold tonight, and I want my community to know and see what I'm about to hear, so they can talk to me. It's part of the process.
I'll just go to Mayor Redmond.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Tooley. This matter has previously come to Council where we were shown a design of the bridge, and it was noted, and Dipty were coming back with a further design, which is apparently what we were supposed to get tonight. There's no need to keep that in confidence. It's public knowledge. There's already been a public consultation process go to people in that vicinity, and there's been public statements around the electrification and also the removal of the bridge as part of the Dipty project. So I don't see why we can't discuss that in the public realm, because there's a design that is already out there in public documents, council agenda reports produced and presented in good faith by Dipty. And I think in good faith tonight, we should discuss this in the public realm, and we should be presented with some drawings so that we can provide comment, whatever we feel. We don't have to necessarily support it, but our community does need to know what is going on. And it is not a confidential conversation that we've had before until this minute. Yet we've already got a design already out in the public realm, and I'm quite keen to see what the update is. We've been told, that maybe it's an improvement, so I'm really keen to see it. But I don't think we need to discuss it in confidence, because there is a view that we then support that. And I don't think this council has made any decision around that yet. We're still considering that as to what we think. We're certainly noting and we're not getting in Dipty's way as far as their project goes. However, I would urge Dipty and all of the people that have come along in good faith to provide this in the public realm. I don't think there's anything to be afraid of. I think it's something to be embraced, particularly around this particular subject. We bring people along, if it means removing a bridge and building a pedestrian bridge, if there's a very, very good design, sometimes people will come along and support that. But we don't know that yet because we haven't seen it. Certainly the first iteration wasn't a particularly good design. However, things move on and we get better. So look, I think we should be discussing this, and I would urge Dipty to come along and present us tonight and do this in the public realm so everyone can have a conversation and people can see how we're responding and how we're representing our community, you know, on both sides of the fence or both sides of the bridge as it would be. So anyway, that's enough for me for the time being.
I'd just like to extend another opportunity to Dipty if I can. As you might be picking up, we're not quite clear on the definition of why this presentation should be in confidence. And it doesn't look like it's going to be. So we're at a stalemate here. Is there something we can, can you help us along here?
So just having a chat to my colleagues here. Look, the reason we're here was at the request of council and to respect council's request to come back before we continued our consultation, which is why we're here. We're not looking for council to make a decision or endorse this. We're just merely a discussion, and you know your constituents well. Perhaps as a pulse check as well, just to see that we're on the right track. But we're certainly not looking for a statement from council or a decision out of this presentation. In terms of the DIT approach to this, we haven't obtained the appropriate approvals to go and make a public record comment at this point, not expecting to have done this. And I think we've been on the lead up to this clear about that. So it's sort of put us on the hop a little bit as well. So this isn't looking to put council in a position. In fact, we were respecting the request to say, don't go further and run to people, run to the public to, can you come back and just let us know where you're up to first and get a pulse check, and that's what we're looking to do. So it's nothing more than that, really.
And I guess on that point, what have we got to lose? What have we got to lose by making sure that our town understands our direction, potential direction, by listening to your presentation publicly?
Sorry, I'm not sure I follow that.
So I guess the point I'm trying to make that you might be picking up from the vibe of the room is the decision that is to be made at a later date is going to be based on our community. So bringing them along for the ride also includes hearing what you have to tell us, community members, along with the greater community members. What is it that we are going to gain by listening to this in confidence? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying now. And look, that's perhaps a bit confusing because the request was to come back and have a discussion with elected members prior to going to further consultation, and that's what we're doing right now. So I didn't invent that as a step, and rather than...
No. And
it's a structure.
Completely understand what you're saying, but we also asked you to come back to be able to talk to the elected body while also talking to the community as well. So that's where I think the confusion is. And it's still a little bit unclear on what there is to gain by putting this in confidence.
It's not a gaining situation. It was just merely complying with the request to come and present back to council prior to continuing with consultation, and that's why we're here.
Fantastic. So then we can take it out of confidence and we can do a public presentation.
No, you didn't listen to what I said before. So approval-wise, we need to obtain approvals to go through that step. So we put it on hold to comply with your request. So we're not looking for a decision or a direction. We're coming back to comply with that request, and I thought we were doing the right thing there, which is what you'd asked for. Otherwise, we could have not put it on hold and carried on and run our own show. That's fine.
I might just go to Councillor Tooley. Oh, and sorry, and Kelvin, I see you waving your hand there, sorry.
If I may speak to Dipti through you, Chair. When you last spoke to us and the documents that the Mayor has spoken about, that was an open presentation. Documents were made available. We invite consultants all the time to come, but because of the Act says that in almost every case, you should be as open to the public and transparent. And the fact that you were invited back, I don't understand the connection with joining the dot that says that means confidentiality. You were invited last time and we got information. You've invited back. Why have you added, I thought it was all confidential? What did the officer say to you? And you were ready to come last time. We had it here on the 11th and it was put out there and it was published and the community were ready to watch that same presentation. It is the same presentation. Did you make a mistake last time?
So that wasn't our intention to come and make that. The presentation we're making today in confidence is what was being proposed last week. There was perhaps a misunderstanding.
But it wasn't in confidence, and we weren't asked to put it in confidence. We weren't going to do it in confidence.
Well, there's no point in me debating that. I'm not sure I share the same view there.
All right.
I might just go
look, we can come back at another point in time, get the appropriate approvals and come back and start this off. So we can do that. That's fine. We can continue our consultation and get the approvals and come back. No problem.
I might just go to Councillor Goldstone and then Councillor Davies.
Yeah, I think if we look at the recommendation that's listed there, I was never happy to point the second part of it. So I personally, I think that could come out. But I do think that the first clause there sort of captures this because basically council can't divulge information if it's provided in confidence. And it sounds very much to me like Dipti will only provide that information in confidence. In other words, they want it to remain confidential at this stage. So under that section of the Act, it looks to me if we want to hear it, that it's going to have to be in confidence. I'm happy with the first point, but not the second point. But yeah, I think we're in a bit of a stalemate. I can't see it progressing if members aren't happy for it to remain in confidence, because the Act is quite clear. If Dipti or any other agency wants to provide information in confidence, then it has to remain confidential. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one. I would have happily supported the first part of it, but yeah, it seems clear that most of the members aren't going to.
Councillor Davis.
Yeah, look, I was just basically going to say that I think we are at a point where, yeah, we should try and arrange something, an alternative. For example, if another request came in, another version of this that came with attachments that were, in confidence for us to consider and see whether they should remain in confidence, then that would be, I think, maybe something that could work out better. But yeah, I understand that from a staff point of view, if you've got, if your regulations say that you haven't been approved to do it, then there's no way you can be approved to do it at this meeting. But just from our perspective, this is something that councillors get quizzed on fairly regularly, is transparency and whether we are unnecessarily putting things in confidence, even though they don't necessarily comply with the spirit of putting things in confidence. And then the bridge goes, for example, the bridge goes through and people don't like it, and then they say, oh, well, why were the council so secretive about this? And then we get blamed for it. So yeah, I just think, the best solution forward is probably to come back with something that does provide us with information, because you can provide us with information in confidence, and then we can consider it and then decide what to do with it. But at the moment, it's sort of just a nothing thing. And I don't think I don't think there's numbers in the council from the people speaking to push it forward. So I would suggest that we just move forward at this time. I'm happy to defer or whatever the official language is, but I think we've spoken all there is to say about this at the moment.
I might just go to our CEO, Henry, and Nat to provide comment.
Yes, thank you through the chair. I'm just thinking about a way forward. I'm hearing that the staff from the department are here in good faith, have been through communications with the administration. We have got to this point. However, obviously the elected members aren't keen to go into confidence. I assume that that means that in the near future, the department will be releasing the information to the public as part of the consultation process. And maybe early in that process, there could be a presentation and a conversation with council on the proposal, such that we can review the information and then have time to then make a submission as a way forward.
Yeah, I'm happy with that from my perspective if you're looking for it. Yeah.
Councillor Sample.
Mr. Chairman, every time we have a council meeting, we get these documents. Does DIP know how to use a photocopier? Why can't they send that confidential stuff to us? I mean, you know, like, we get it. Them, as other councillors have said, we've got it there. It's not necessary to give a verbal, surely to goodness. What's the difference in having it in our special confidential folders, which we are obliged that it is not to be spoken or handed out afterwards? I don't understand. I reckon we move on and everybody picks up their bat and goes home and we get on with the other business that we've got here.
Just a question. So picking up on what the CEO said, that can happen without a council resolution. That can just happen, can't it? We don't need any direction. DIPTI will go out to public consultation, and as part of that public consultation, they'll come to council and ask for comment. Is that correct?
Through the chair, I would suggest that if council's keen on receiving a presentation as tonight, then I think it'll be appropriate that that's recorded by way of resolution, such that the community can see that's what the will is, and the department can see that that's what the council is wanting to do. It's not normally the case that a government agency would give a presentation to a council if there wasn't a request. So maybe a motion would be appropriate.
Yeah. Councillor Davies.
I'm happy to move not this motion, but what the CEO was talking about in terms of requesting a subsequent meeting. The wording CEO might be able to help with.
So Kate, that the council note the report and that council requests a presentation by the department to council during the course of the public consultation period.
Happy with the wording there, Councillor Davies? I'm going to ask for a seconder for the motion as it sits on the screen. You really put me in that seat. No, the written report. No, it's the written report as a part of our documents. That's all we're noting. Unfortunately, if we don't receive a presentation, we can't accept that presentation. So hence the stalemate there. Yeah, so I'll give another chance of a seconder there, and if we can't get that, then unfortunately this will lapse. So Councillor Davies has moved the motion. I'm now looking for a seconder, and then I'll yeah, so you can either second the motion and then we vote, or you let it lapse. So yes, the motion is lapsed due to want of a seconder. Trying to tease this out here, but yeah, I don't think we're getting anywhere. So I think we're going to have to move on to the next agenda item. But I do request that the feedback be taken from the table tonight. It's nothing personal. It's merely trying to answer for what's going to happen to residents' bridges from the town that we live in. So we do fast forward the communication if they're able to see the same presentation as we are. So yeah, I just recommend you take that feedback back, and we might be able to avoid you driving an hour out of your way to operate in goodwill. So so yes, just on that, I'm just going to move on to the next item on the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
And thanks again for coming out tonight. I'm sorry it wasn't more constructive. I'm going to move on to officer's report. I'm on page 4 of 45. Mayor Redmond is happy to move that motion. I'm looking for a seconder. Mayor, would you like to speak?
Yes, please. Thank you. Well, I have to say it's been a disappointing process. I guess a CAT bylaw, even though it actually doesn't say much at all, in fact, it's no different to our policy from what I can read. So we've gone down this process. We've gone to the Dog and Cat Management Board. It's come back with literally no outcome and literally no change. So I look forward to the state government taking responsibility and doing a statewide process, and I think there is some suggestion of that. So I'm always hopeful that we might be able to manage cats in our community in an appropriate way. However, I am happy to move this motion. Thank you.
Seconder, do you wish to speak? Any other discussion? Councillor Davies, do you wish to speak?
Yeah. Look, when this came before us, like, I don't know, a year ago or so, the last time it showed up, it was quite controversial in the community because of all of the parts about destruction of cats. That's all been removed, so there's nothing really interesting in the bylaw now. So I don't think there's anything particularly controversial about it. Just to note that, and yeah, I'll support it.
Councillor Koch.
I suppose to Jack, what happens to unregistered cats that can't be rehomed? No, not shot.
Put that over to you, Jack.
Through the chair, basically they're forwarded to the AWL or the RSPCA. Yep.
Councillor Tooley.
Question, if I may, through you, Chair. I just want to be clear. When I'm looking on page 13 of 45 and it goes through, this is the section called the dog bylaw. It's here as an attachment. Is that document different to the document that we approved not that long ago, which is the one that incorporates the dog park, the timed on-leash, off-leash, the signs that were put up at Deadman's and Conley that said if you're walking in the morning, you can have your dog off-leash, but between these hours. Is this an update of that, or is this different?
I think I can answer that one. I'm just kidding. I'll put that over to Jack.
With the chair, this is actually the old version. We've kept it in here as part of the submission from Norman. So the version that was endorsed by council is slightly different to this one. So we're actually just printing in here what we originally received without sort of breaking the letter and the submission by Norman's into two separate pieces. I've left it all together.
So it's a case of you've sort of shown us the whole package you put in, but our existing policy doesn't change. If we vote for this tonight, we're not in any way undoing that policy that we've had a big debate over, we've invested in, and there's all this signage out now that people got used to, and therefore people that like to go to Deadman's and Clonley between certain hours and run off leash, they can. We're not changing, because this talks about wetlands, and I'm thinking, hello, is that a new clause that's trying to undo all of that? That policy is not going to be affected by a decision tonight.
Through the chair, absolutely correct.
Okay. I can vote in confidence now. Thank you. Well, not.
Is there any further discussion? If not, I'll put that motion. Oh, sorry, Chair, are you happy to close the debate? If I'll put that motion, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. So we're moving on to the policy review. We've got an officer's recommendation. Councillor Hughes, you're happy to move that way? You're happy to second Mayor Redmond. Would you like to speak, Councillor Hughes?
Yeah, it was just fairly procedural. So no, I'm happy with the updated policy as it is being updated. Thanks.
Seconder, do you wish to speak? Any other discussion? Councillor Tooley.
So this is just that process where every so often, be it 1 year, 2 year, we have to update the policy. And when I read through it, that normally we have a tract in red or blue, but there was minimalist. There's the bit on the sort of the front page with the dates, but there didn't seem to be any changes in the text. Am I reading that right? Yep, I'm reading that right. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Mover, are you happy for me to put that? I put that motion. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. And as we've dealt with the confidential report, I'd like to close the meeting. Thank you everyone for attending. Yes, yes. No, it's not on there. Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't. Yeah. So yes, I close the meeting. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Kelvin.